There is something special about quotations. Quotes promise to capture an original thought, maybe even some truth in an inspiring or witty expression. On websites such as Wikiquote, these well-known expressions are collected. They become compiled resources made to be reused and shared in various ways. Besides such popular quotes and aphorisms, quoting is an important part of everyday communication in the media and in social interaction. In online communication, quoting is a prevalent digital practice. In social media, what can be called images with quotes is an ubiquitous form of visual communication. Without providing much context, it is often unclear whether such quote cards provide accurate information. What seems less important in the case of inspirational quotes or funny memes is a key issue when it comes to journalistic reporting, where media practitioners rely on news sources for their information and use quotes to establish authority and maximize news value. Digital news, published on the internet and promoted on social media platforms, afford a seamless combination and integration of various modes of quoting. With video, snippets of media content in which a person is heard and seen speaking can be inserted as audiovisual sound bites into news stories, or statements can be rendered as written quotations with photos. Let us look at a simple example of such a visual soundbite. From a linguistic perspective, a quotation is the repetition of one expression as part of another one. This picture of German Chancellor Angela Merkel was posted on the Facebook page of the German public service television network ARD in February 2018. We see a speech situation, Angela Merkel in front of a lectern, her hands forming a speech gesture. Right next to this photo element, we have a quote as written text. This is a direct quote, so typically you have to parse didactic expressions. What does this massacre refer to? To make sense out of it, you need more context. This context is provided by the Facebook posting that accompanies the photo posting. The status text frames the quote image in the context of the Syrian war. Quote cards and visual sound bites can be understood as recontextualized discourse. From the speech Angela Merkel gave in the Bundestag, some words, the soundbite, were selected, packaged in the specific design and form of this quote card and posted online. Of course, recontextualization doesn't stop here, but continues in the user practices of news sharing and commenting. In this case, the posting attracted over 200 shares and 800 comments that could be explored in more detail. The renewed interest in the notion of recontextualization in communication research is related to the emergence of social media platforms and such activities of sharing. Social media platforms have not only transformed news production and reception practices, but also changed the way citations are handled. A growing body of research recognizes the close interplay of affordances, platforms, and digital practices. Recently, scholars have begun to investigate quotation practices in connection to technological shifts and investigate medium-specific functions of quoting. However, there have been few analyses dealing with the visual design and semiotic choices in the context of digital news reporting. In my research, I look at quotes in the context of public service news on social media. The question I am raising is how and in which form quotes are used to make news stories shareable on social media platforms. The term shareability refers to stories that are thought likely to generate sharing and comments via Facebook, Twitter, and other forms of social media. As a first step, I conducted an exploratory pilot study focusing on the poster content and the user interaction. In the remaining presentation, I want to demonstrate some of the visual methods for data exploration used in the project. The data comes from Facebook pages operated by national broadcasting corporations of Austria, Germany and Switzerland, as well as the BBC. The data were collected on screen and using the Facebook Graph API. The dataset contains photo posts, status messages and comments, as well as related metadata. No personal identifiable information is collected. To explore the visual design of this massive amount of data, a combination of qualitative and quantitative approaches was used. Drawing upon media linguistic and visual communication research, I adopt a multimodal approach to describe the way sources are presented both with language and image. Through distant visualization and closer analysis of selected examples, I explore the visual design and ask how these visual soundbites afford an easy way to establish common ground for follow-up conversation in the comments. For this presentation, I have selected a subset of 125 image quotes of my dataset. Here you can see a composition of this subset. This direct visualization already shows us several things about the visual design. You can see, for example, the Austrian Zeitung Bild manages to convey a very recognizable visual branding through the consistent use of a blue color background. Most of the image quotes are multimodal ensembles. Most combine photo elements and text, but there are several text-only quotes as well. Besides looking at the design, we can also use qualitative annotation to explore the data further. For example, if you are interested in a question who is quoted as a source, we have politicians, athletes, and religious leaders such as the Pope as sources, as well as artists and experts. There are also quotes from famous dead people, and there are a few quotes from common everyday people, as well as some quotes sourced from documents. Such visual explorations can be used to further zoom in on the interesting cases. Here, for example, I have identified two postings with the same quote but a different visual framing. It would be interesting to compare the user comments and see how the difference in visual framing of the quote affect the follow-up conversation. So let me wrap up. I argue that quoting practices, in this case, can be understood as a multimodal recontextualization that is multifunctional. Visual soundbites are used to add credibility, attract audiences, and enhance the overall shareability of the news items. This visual optimization of shareability and orientation towards establishing topical areas for follow-up discussions through visual soundbites raises further questions on public media and public discourse. This could be a good starting point for a larger follow-up project that also includes the necessary ethnographical observations in the newsrooms. Thank you for watching my Pfurtscheller presentation. Please check the description box below for more information, some links and the references. Goodbye and see you guys next time.